Hello, everybody. It's me, Aidan Ismail Po, an internationally certified English language teacher. So, we are studying past simple today. Well, immediately, let's read a sample passage to have some ideas about past simple or to kind of remember it. Yesterday was a great day. I woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning and immediately took a shower. I had breakfast at 7:30 and left home 10 minutes after that. I arrived at my workplace earlier than everybody because it was my presentation day. I was excited, but everything went smoothly, and in the end, there was a big applause in the room for me. My boss also praised me for all the good work I did. Well, that was a kind of routine passage that we just read, and it's time to analyze what past simple is and how we use it. Well, I've taken a sentence out of the passage that we just read. I arrived earlier than everybody. Well, if we check the timeline, I'm sure that all of you know the action happened in the past, right? So nobody would argue that. But my question is this: how many times did the action happen? Did it happen once or several times? I arrived earlier than everybody. Once or many times? Yeah, exactly. It happened once. So it happened probably yesterday or the day before yesterday or whenever the past simple action I'm talking about is or was. So now we understand that past simple is one single completed action in the past. And most often, we know when this action happened. We know it was yesterday, 10 hours ago, I don't know, before something, or we can even use it like when I was 10 years old, I don't know, did this and that and this. But you need to remember that past simple is one single completed action that happened in the past. And how we create it? We use subject, obviously, and verb to, or past form of the verb. And I'm sure that you already know that in past simple, we've got two types of verbs, or verbs are in two groups: regular verbs and irregular verbs. In questions, we use did and then subject. And because we already have got did, we don't need regular or irregular verbs. I mean, that doesn't matter because we use just base form of the verb. And in negative sentences, we use subject, then again, did not or didn't, and verb base form. Okay? Now it is time to talk about regular and irregular verbs. Well, regular verbs follow one rule in the past, which is ed. So, well, it's not easy to remember all of them, but as you have more practice in English, you will remember all the regular verbs that are needed and all the irregular ones that you will kind of use in daily situations. Love becomes loved. So we just add ed, or if the verb itself has got e at the end, we just add d. For example, have love already has got e at the end, so we go with loved. Talk, talked. Want, wanted. Decide, decided. Need, needed. Phone, phoned. So as you can see, all of them have got the same ending in the past. Ed, 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 ed. Yeah, pronunciation is slightly different, but we'll come to that. Irregular verbs, on the other hand, change from the root and there is no regularity there. That's why they are called irregular verbs, because there is no one rule that they follow. Each changes differently. For example, see becomes so, make becomes made, go becomes went, do did, take took, shake shook. So most of the time, teachers want their students or advise their students to memorize irregular verbs because there is no rule that they follow. Um, I wouldn't agree and disagree with that because Memorizing at some point is helpful, but you will not have that energy to remember everything. So my recommendation is to practice. So the more practice you do, the better you will get. So choose 10 irregular verbs that you see very often and try to practice them as much as possible. Well, pronunciation. Well, pronunciation is something that you definitely need to be um, aware of, I may say. Well, sometimes somebody's pronunciation is better, somebody else's pronunciation is not that good. Obviously, people really like to be just like native speakers. Well, it's unfortunately not easy as long as you live in a country that is not, native speaking country or native English country. But still, you can make your pronunciation as good as possible just to follow some rules. Well, in the past, or in past simple, regular verbs, because they accept ed, can be pronounced in three different ways. One is with t, the other one is with the, or ed or id. So t, the, or id. For example, let's take the first one, look. When we pronounce look in the past, we don't say look it because it doesn't sound right. We say looked, right? Looked. But if we take stay, for example, we say stayed. We can't say state, right? If we say state, that becomes like United States of America. Uh, the word itself changes. And if we take visit, it becomes visited. So you see, all of them accept ed, but they have different pronunciation. Looked, stayed, and visited. So let me tell you that rule. I think you can easily remember that. If the verb ends with voiceless consonant, what's voiceless consonant? Like k, p, or s. These are voiceless consonants. And when the verb ends with this type of consonant, then we use t. Okay? But if the verb ends with voiced consonant, for example, y, n, what else we've got here? For example, answer. Okay, answer. That also ends with actually not consonant, but it's still voiced. In that case, we used the. So I'm not trying to explain all the rules, but I'm just trying to give you some idea how it happens. But if the verb ends with the or t sound, then it is ed or id, not it, but id. So let's pronounce all the words here together. Look, looked. Visit, visited. Stay, stayed. Work, so it's voiceless consonant. Then it becomes worked, right? Clean, n is voiced consonant, so cleaned, right? Play, it's voiced again, played. Pass, well, it is voiceless, then passed, right? Phone, it is voiced, so phoned. Need, so ends with the, then needed. Hop, so p is voiceless, then hopped, right? Answer, it's voiced, answered. Enjoy, again voiced, enjoyed. Decide, so we've got that the at the end, it becomes decided. Well, again, you don't have to remember all of them, but just follow the tune, the rhythm. All right. So after some time, you will be able to pronounce them all correctly. And finally, in the speaking part, I'm going to ask you the questions. I want you to stop the video and try to answer these questions in the past as best as you can. Let's get started. Where did you live 10 years ago? Pause the video, answer the question, then come back. Did you attend yesterday's meeting? Who did you meet after work yesterday? Was it rainy when you arrived? How did you learn English? What was the first gift you received? Well, I'm sure that you have answered all of them correctly, but still try to watch the video one more time, get a better idea about past simple. I'm sure that you will use past simple seamlessly in your speaking. Thank you very much and see you next time. Bye bye.